Hello and welcome back to my channel. This is the discussion video to Beach Read by Emily Henry. This was our Read With Me book for the last 3 Thursdays, and now I want to say something to the book so we can discuss the story. This part is filmed after I read the first third of the book, and I really love it so far. Really hopeful this is a highlight and a 5-star book, but we will see. I love January and Gus very much. They are totally different writers, but that makes it interesting to follow both of them and their stories and their connection to each other. We have already a lot of emotional depth in the story, and that's what I really love. I love that we have a lot to think about, a lot that make the characters real persons with real feelings, like January's connection to her father that died, her problem to process the things she found out about him, and that he had a second life. That's really difficult for her, and I understand why. And I understand that this is hard for her as a romance writer, and that she questioned her belief in love after what she found out. And also I love Gus, or Augustus, and I love his stories. I love the stories he writes. We don't know much about him yet, but I'm really interested to find out more about him. And I really love the connection between Gus and January, and how they find each other in this small town, and how they share their stories and their writing problems, because they are both in a writing slump at this point, and they need to finish a manuscript till the end of summer. So there is a lot of pressure and a lot of stress, and they talk about this problem and share that they have problems with the genre itself that they write, and they make a deal and a bet to switch genres. So Gus writes now rom-coms, or women's fiction, romance stories with happy ends, and January now writes a fiction novel. They not only share their new story ideas and their process with each other, they also share the whole process of writing. So Gus shows January how he works, and January shows Gus how she writes romance fiction. And that's what I really love, because we learn a lot about their processes and about their story ideas, and both ideas they have shared now in the first 11 chapters. I would read Gus' story about the cult, and I would read January's story about Ferris. So that is a really good sign that I can emotionally connect to the stories and the book and the characters. And I can't wait to read more. But before I end this part of the video, let's talk about the title. Because this book is called Beach Read, but it doesn't feel very beachy. In my mind, I have more small town vibes, and I have a picture in my mind about the house that they live in, that they stand at a lake in the forest. So that is the vibe I get. No beach, but forest and lake, because it takes place at a lake, not at the sea itself. Yeah, that is all at this point I want to say. I want to discuss, and I will talk to you after I read chapter 12 to, let me see, 20. Yay me, I forgot to film the discussion part for the second part of the Beach Read with me. It is now 1 week after I read the second part, so chapter, let me see, 12 to 20. Now I don't remember much and special scenes, but I can say that I really like the writing style of Emily Henry in this book, that I like the main characters, January and Gus, and their character development. We learn more about their past here, especially about Gus' past. We learn that he was married and that he lived in the town where his aunt lives, and yes, we know his aunt. So that was quite interesting, and I really love the mix between literary fiction and rom-com style, because this book is both. Like the main characters, January writes rom-coms, Gus literary fiction, or now the other way around, because they switch genres, like I said in the discussion part for the first part. And I really love this, that we not only have these genres that the authors write, and we also have these genres both in this book itself. The mix between the rom-com part that made me smile and the seriousness of the literary fiction, with the interviews of ex-cult members that Gus writes about. That was really cool, and I can't wait to read the last part of the book, so the last 120 pages. I love the date ideas, and that we go a little bit forward in this second part, in the relationship between the characters, that they kiss and make out, and that they both know how they should process it. Because it is a little bit awkward between the two characters at some points, which I totally understand. And yeah, I think 1 week after I read the chapter, that is all I can say. Sorry for that, but I will tell you more after I read the last part of the book. I finished Beach Read, and I love this book so much. highlight 5 stars. I'm totally in for this kind of stories, and yeah. The last part I really loved, and if you saw the Read With Me video to this part, you saw I get at some point a little bit emotional and shed some tears. That was the part where January read the letters from her father, and yeah, that made me emotional. And I couldn't help myself. I needed to shed some tears, but I loved that part. And yeah, when someone in a story loses someone that is very important to the person, I almost cried every time, because grief is a very personal thing, and if you have experienced it yourself, not with my parents but with my aunt, then you can, then these scenes hit different. So yeah, that was the emotional part about the last part. That was chapter 21 till the end. And let's see what I have marked. Yeah, I really loved the pop culture references to Castaway with Tom Hanks, and the part about Fabio. It is not my generation with Fabio, but I know about it, and I found it really cool that Gus said, I want to be your perfect fucking Fabio January, but I can't. And she answers, I don't need you to be Fabio. Yes, you do. Everything I've done in the last 24 hours has hurt you, January. You want me to be able to read you, and I can't. You want me to know how to do this, and I don't. No, I said. I just want to tell me how you feel. I want to know what it is you want. Yeah, I really loved the scene, and I loved the way they say I love you to each other. And what was that? Oh yeah, there was a scene where they discuss about happy endings in general, and the reasons why they switched genres. And Gus says in the scene, I never wanted you to see the world like I see. And that was also a sentence that hit different, because I really can understand why he says that, and why he don't want to let January see the world like he sees the world, because it is sometimes very pessimistic. And one last scene I marked, this is where they finally wrote their stories and they are going to be published, and they read the stories of each other and have read the endings of the other person. And then there follows this discussion. I guess we both failed, I said, climbing to my feet. Gus followed me. We started up the crooked, rooty path. I don't think so. I think I wrote my version of a happy ending, and you wrote your version of a sad one. We had to write what we think is true. That is also a part that I really liked, and I loved the ending and the way they came together, and the love story is developing in this book, and all the other parts. So character development, the plot, the books they wrote in the story. I really understand why so many people think this is the best book of Emily Henry, because I think so too. And I hope you like this as much, whether you read it with me or you read it alone. And I now have to think about what I will read next. So tell me in the comments which parts of the book you liked, which parts you don't liked. What is your opinion about Beatread? And yeah, you can follow me on this channel, you can like the video if you want, and I will see you next time. Bye!